Hello, hello. I hope my new microphone is working. I haven't reviewed any of my videos since I did this. Well, what I'd like to do today is I want to flush out clearly that the Mormon Church is a hideous cult. I've never found a cult that I wouldn't call hideous. Um, a lot of people debate and say, well, when you say the word cult, others have said it's just a knee-jerk reaction. No, we're not a cult. We're not a cult. We're not a cult because the word cult is so devastating. It's so hideous that anybody um, would not want to be in a cult. It doesn't matter um, what a human being has for their individual philosophy. For them to admit that they were in a cult is almost incomprehensible. I'm 77 years old. I keep saying that. Oh, my fireplace came on. I love it. The Lord has blessed me. He's just given me more than I can comprehend. I just am so thankful to my Heavenly Father that He gave me a new microphone, He gave me a new camera, He gave me lights, He gave me my fireplace. And look at my Christmas picture. Isn't that beautiful? So at least I'm on my last legs, if you know what I mean, but at least I'm going to go out happy. The Mormon Church is a cult, not just a cult, but I'm going to say it is maybe the cult. I've lived a long time. I've seen Heaven's Gate, I've seen Jonestown, I've seen Waco, I've seen the results of many hideous cults, but I was in one for half a century. I raised my children in a cult. I worked for the cult. I actually got a paycheck from Brigham Young University teaching in their Department of Recreation dance. So I got some of your tithing and some of your fast offering money. Um, I was married in their uh, uh, temple ceremony. I was married in Manti Temple. I was married in the Washington, D.C. Temple. I was married in the Salt Lake Temple. I have 14 children. Um, I sent, I'm trying to think how many went on a mission. At least two of my kids went on a mission. I went to 4 years of seminary when I was a child before high school. I served in an elders quorum on a couple of occasions. I served in a stake presidency in Hartford, Connecticut as the executive secretary for a short time. I worked in the Los Angeles Temple as a veil worker for over a year, and I did go to BYU. I graduated from BYU. And not, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but the baby was kind of ugly. That he should have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. So there were some positive things about BYU that I look back on. I have been married to two RMs, returned missionaries. My second wife, um, Jeannie, was on a mission to the California, to Anaheim, Disneyland area, and my wife Mercy is from the Philippines, and she went on a mission to the Philippines. I wore the garments at the beginning. My garments were all the way down to my ankles and all the way down to the wrists here. They were not a two-piece; they were one piece, and they tied up the middle. There were no buttons, there were no zippers. They tied in little ties, tie, and the weenie would hang out on the tie. I don't know. Anyway, I have some pretty good experience in the cult. I was raised in the cult. I've said on other occasions that my father was a child molester. My father was a Sunday school superintendent, whatever that means today. And he molested my sister for years, and then he got remarried and molested the daughter, his stepdaughter. The church never did anything. Never did anything. I called all of his bishops, and they said, we're not going to do anything. So I have right now around 2,000 videos. Sir David the Bard. Sir David the Bard. I also have cockroach disability, and I have about 2,000 videos. I've never once, until today, I've never once counseled people, advised people. I've been basically neutral. I've told people my life, my stories, what happened to me, how I feel, and I'm not pulling any punches. I'm mentally ill. I have bipolar 1, and the Mormon Church basically didn't help that. It certainly exacerbated it. The feelings of grandiose were very attractive to me. With bipolar, one of the symptoms is grandiose. Gosh, when the church said I could be a counselor with no degree, when it said I was the first counselor, or when it says I could be president or superintendent, those words were extremely attractive to a mentally ill person. I'm going to say it today because I've had 77 years to think about it. I'm not one to come to conclusions quickly. I always want to hear both sides. I never make any kind of a decision without hearing both sides completely, and then measure the facts. I don't want the truth. I want the facts. I want to hear the facts. So I'm going to say it for the first time in my life. If you're in the Mormon Church, you need to get out. You're in a deadly cult. You're not in just a comical Three Stooges movie. You're in that too. Laurel and Hardy, which dates me, of course. But I used to think the Mormon Church was only silly. I thought that it was comical. I thought that people that continued to be in it and watched the antics, that it does this, it does that, and the blacks can have the priesthood, then they can't. Joseph Smith marries 14-year-olds, and then he says he's not a polygamist. And I can't go through the list. If you're watching this video right now, you've gone through some of the list. It's comprehensive. It's overwhelming. I'm going to say it again. If you're in the Mormon Church, you're in a deadly cult. You're not just in a circus. You're in a time bomb. You're in a time bomb. Now, will it go off in your lifetime? It might. Will it go off in your children's lifetime? Probably. What about your grandchildren? Definitely. The information age and the internet, I predicted, today is December in 2024, I predicted 11 or 12 years ago when I first started the inklings of the internet. I wasn't comprehensive because we didn't know what the internet was going to do to change the world. I predicted then the internet is going to be the death of the Mormon Church. Not just the curse. Right now, it's a curse, but the death is, again, shortly coming. I'm going to say right now, right up front, I've made my decision. I've made my decision. I have 2,000 videos, and in 2,000 videos, I never said you need to leave the Mormon Church. I never said if you have missionaries at your door, you ought to be very kind and say goodbye. I'm not going to join a cult. Goodbye. I'm going to say if you can resign from the Mormon Church, that's what you should do. Now, a lot of you, I understand, and I appreciate that a lot of people just say, screw them. I'm not going to go. They don't see me. I don't see them, and I'm not going to resign. Well, then they keep your name on their records and they falsely claim to the world they've got 17.5 or 8 million now. Every time I do a video, the numbers change. They're not true. There's only 4,000 or a million Mormons in the United States. I say resign. Don't just be inactive. Don't just walk away. And here's why I say that. Two reasons. That basically my lawsuit right now is capturing them with their panties down, that they're holding your name and they're holding your grandfather's name. If he's 110 years old, he's still a member of the church even though he's dead. So I'm saying right now with this video, I was in a deadly cult. It wasn't just a religious cult. I saw the pictures of Jim Jones in, I can't think of the country he went to with his people. I saw 900 men, women, and children laying on the ground dead. I saw that with my own eyes. 900 men, women, and children laying on the ground dead because their cult leader poisoned them and told them that they were needing to die. After he took all their Social Security money, often they took all their welfare money, their retirement money, their money. That was a deadly, very deadly cult. Waco. Look what they did in Waco. David Koresh. Again, everything is sexual. Everything, all the leaders get to just screw whoever they want, whenever they want, and they use that sexual carrot. I don't know if you call it a sexual carrot, but they hold that over the people because everybody's sexual. Everybody needs sex. Everybody wants sex. And boy, when a cult leader gets in charge, they take over your penis and they take over your vagina. And you just bow your head and say yes. And of course, any of you that have been to the Mormon temple, when I say that, you raise your right hand to the square and you promise to give away everything to the Mormon church. And they say, bow your head and say yes. Locks you in. We saw Waco burned to the ground, and all of the children and all of the mothers and the men burned to the ground. It was a deadly cult. It was a deadly cult. Heaven's Gate. We saw that. Gentlemen say that the people needed to commit suicide so that they could jump on a spaceship and go into outer space and go to heaven. Well, those cults are kind of like the pimple on the ass of cults. They're more obvious. They're more picturesque. They're more shocking the conscience. The Mormon Church is more clever. It is more cunning. It is more evil. And when you say deadly, you and I probably think, well, that's the human body, that it falls down, doesn't breathe, heart gone, brain waves. I think there's other ways of dying. You can die physically in the Mormon Church. Porter Rockwell, the hitman for Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, assassinated people. The group that Mormons originally had that was overt was called the Danites. They killed people that disagreed with the Mormon Church. We've seen the Mormon Church kill 120 people in St. George area that were just people migrating to California. And the church, because Brigham Young had Parley Pratt down in the South, and they treated Parley Pratt poorly down there. Brigham Young wanted revenge, and when he found out that this wagon train, Mountain Meadows, was in southern Utah. He ordered. Now, is there actual proof that he ordered? They're pretty clever. They're pretty clever. To me, there's proof. He ordered the stake president and bishops to dress up like Indians, Native Americans, and they went to this wagon train, 120 men, women, and children who are totally innocent. They're just migrating to California. And the Mormons said, "Oh, we don't lie." I can't even keep a straight face. The Mormons invented the phrase in AI, lying for the Lord. No other religion has invented that. That was invented by the cult, the Mormons, lying for the Lord, which means that it's okay to speak untruth as long as it's going to benefit you and you can fantasize it will benefit the Lord. So the members of the church, the leadership of the church, went to this wagon train and they said, well, we're going to stop you from passing through because we're Mormons and we control things. And we're going to control you and your life and what you eat, what you drink, and your underwear. So they said, well, we're going to give you a chance. We're Mormons and we're good people. We have the 13 Articles of Faith. We believe in obeying the law of the land. I can't keep a straight face if you know facts. This is hilarious. Anyway, they said, we don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal. I go, anyway, they said to these poor immigrants, please give us your guns. And if you give us all of your guns, we're going to protect you and let you pass. And you can go to California, but you're going to have to leave your guns here. Well, these immigrants, they're not sophisticated. They're people from the South, people looking for a better life. They're like I was. They believed the Mormons. I believed for a half a century that these people would not lie to me. These people would not take advantage of me. So these innocent people did exactly what I did. So, okay. They handed over to the Mormons authorities their guns. Now the Mormons will always say, we're not going to hurt you. When they excommunicate you, they call it a court of love. A court of love. Have you ever been in any court anywhere that you would stand up and say, this is a court of love? The word court to me, and I'm in the law a little bit, the word court is not a positive word in my intellect, my dialect. So anyway, the Mormons said to them, give us your guns, and they did. Well, the Mormons had some of the Mormons dressed up as Indians, Native Americans, because they knew what they were going to do. They wanted to blame it on the Native Americans. Well, a long story short, the Mormons shot most of them in the face. Most of them in the face. Men, women, and children. I'm sorry, I'm old. Killed right there. Mountain Meadows Massacre, 120 men, women, and children, point blank shot in the face, in the body, dead. You can go down to southern Utah. There's a monument down there. Well, Brigham Young went down to the monument and before he died. And his so sorry, I'm old. His scribe, secretary, was with him, and Brigham Young was looking at the tomb, commemorating what the church had done. And on the tombstone monument, it said, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." And Brigham turned to the scribe and said, "And I've had a little. And I've had a little. Vengeance is mine." And then he turned and said, and I've had a little. That's enough for me. Brigham Young ordered that massacre. And those 120 men, women, and children were on the hands, the bloody hands of Brigham Young, the prophet that Jesus told him to treat those brothers and sisters that way. So I'm getting back to the point that I'm much more serious these days about the Mormon Church being a hideous and deadly cult. They have a history of killing. They have a history of lying for the Lord. They have a history of lying to the federal government with the manifesto and Wilford Woodruff. They have a history in a society of lying, cheating, and stealing. Now, what's come to me, and the reason I'm doing this video, is because I know this organization very, very well. I've got 2,000 videos that basically have explained how what happened to me, what I felt, what happened to me being a Mormon. I've never said these things before. If you're in that cult, you need to get out. If you're looking to join that cult, you better wake up. You're headed towards Jonestown. You're headed towards Heaven's Gate. You're headed towards Waco. I think there's a chance, a possibility that my videos now, because I have sued the Mormon Church, there's going to be an accident in my life. That's a possibility. There's going to be a unusual event. He disappeared. Or, well, he was old and he was sick, and I think there's a possibility that someone is going to come through that door. The Mormon Church has these people that are crazy that join them because of the draw of a cult. Like Dave Hole, is that their names up there in Idaho, who killed their own children and then buried them on their own land, and that it was the work of Satan, and it was them being a Mormon and being an extreme Mormon. There's a chance. Now, I have to warn the Mormon Church and the nutty people that may come here. I'm not going to roll over and play dead. I may end up dead, but I'm not going to roll over and play dead. I'm old. I can't fight anybody or chase anybody. God, I can hardly walk to the damn bathroom. But I'm going to just simply say on this video that I have ways of protecting myself and my family. I'm not going to roll over and let them intimidate me, bully me anymore, and I name myself the cockroach. You have to kill a cockroach. Some cockroaches can live weeks after you cut their head off. You have to exterminate a cockroach. We don't go away. We're going to ruin the life of the Mormon Church. Not single-handedly, but I'm going to do my part. If you're raising your children in the Mormon Church, your children are going to hate you, and they're going to shun you, and your children are going to disown you. If you decide you don't want to go to the church anymore, you decide you want to resign, they've been trained. They've been trained to shun you and to hate you. You're an apostate. They don't want to be around their father and their mother. So, I'm saying, again, this is the third time I've said it, I think. If you're in the Mormon Church, you need to get out. Not just be inactive. That's not right. If you don't have the fortitude, if you don't have the integrity, if you don't have the honesty, if you don't have the wherewithal to take your name off of a cult that is deadly, is satanic, is counting you as a member even though you don't go anymore, even though you're inactive, you're still part of the cult. You're still helping the cult bring in innocent victims to join, because your number the cult is using to say, see, Mr. Jones, he's still a member. Yeah, he doesn't come anymore. We haven't seen him for 30 or 40 years. But legally, we can say, oh, he's still a member. He never resigned. So I'm making not a plea, because it doesn't affect me. You know, you stay in the church, you join it, and how does that hurt me? All I'm doing is disseminating my experience and my wisdom and my judgment. I don't want my name associated with 38-year-old men having sex and marrying 14-year-old girls. I don't want my name associated with the history of this organization. And just because this organization has now altered because of the internet, they've had to alter, their lies have been now exposed. Yeah, they're getting pretty much what they deserve. But what about me and you? Do you want your name stamped on that? I didn't. I still don't. That's why I'm suing them. I'm suing them because they won't take my name off the rolls, and they continue to count me as a member of their church. If we do nothing, they're going to continue. And I used to say, it's silly. I used to say, it's a circus. I used to say, it's a comedy show. And I felt that way until today. I got up. I thought, you know, it's dangerous. It's a cult. It's not just a cult. A cult by and of itself is, you know, it's a negative word, meaning people don't think for themselves. But how does that hurt us just because they don't think for themselves? But if it's a cult that steals your money, if it's a cult that kills secretly those who are in opposition, if it's a cult that tortures the mentally ill, the poor, if it's a country where, again, I have to relate everything to the Philippines, because I married a Filipino girl. I adopted 2 little girls from the Philippines. My Filipino in-laws lived here. So I'm somewhat restricted in my experience. But when I saw the way that my family, Filipino family, lived as members of the church in the Philippines, and I saw that they had only enough rice, a handful of rice for a meal in a day, and sometimes it wasn't enough for each person in the family. And the Mormon church made them buy garments at their own expense. The Mormon church made them go to Manila, to the temple. When the Mormon church made them pay pesos for the authorities of the Mormon church to have Cadillacs, Learjets, first-class travel, 6-figure stipends, free education, free everything. This is now deadly to me. Maybe not to you. Maybe not to you. And I respect that. I respect that. But I have to say what I've been taught, what my eyes have seen. They will let those people in the Philippines starve to death. And they have to pay pesos. 2 cents. Peso is 2 cents. And in the Philippines, that 2 cents can get you some rice. 10% of that Filipino LDS family had to pay their tithing. And the church, Mormon church, has said, if you cannot feed your family and your children, and you have a choice between paying your tithing and feeding your children, we're instructing you to pay your tithing. If that's not a red flag for you or me, we're idiots. We're fools. We're creatures that have, we're barely above the animals out there in the kingdom there. When an organization cult says, before you can feed your children, give us your money in tithing, that is a red flag that should wrap you and me up in and throw us over the cliff. It's deadly. It's deadly. I've come to this conclusion now. Like I said, I went to bed last night thinking, well, it's a circus, it's comical, it's crazy stuff that goes on, and that's just the way the world is. I got up this morning and I changed. It's deadly. And I'm going to be a voice of warning. If you're thinking of joining the Mormon Church, you better take a hard look at entering a deadly cult. It's deadly perhaps to your body. It's going to be deadly at least to your spirit. It's going to be deadly to you financially, morally, spiritually, your family. And when they say families are forever, cults say funny things that are the opposite. That's what I call cult talk, a court of love. So anyway, I'm going to, after that little dissertation, my good friend here, I love this guy, this gal. Let me see what a cult is. Here, let's take a look here. Read your last answer.
Sure. Here's a recap of my last response. I summarized what defines a cult based on various sources, highlighting 10 characteristics that indicate a group may be a cult. These include 1. Devotion to a central figure or idea, unquestioning loyalty. 2. Isolation from society, ideologically or physically separate. 3. Unorthodox beliefs and practices, radical or non-mainstream. 4. Manipulative practices, psychological control or coercion. 5. Exclusive truth claims, asserting they alone have the truth. 6. Demand for total commitment, time, energy, or resources. 7. Authoritarian structure, strict hierarchy discouraging dissent. 8. Secretive nature, hidden rituals or beliefs. 9. Exploitation of members, financial, emotional, or physical. 10. Extreme worldviews, apocalyptic or us versus them mentality. This list highlights key traits that define cults, especially when multiple factors are present. It also emphasizes that such groups often prioritize control and self-interest over members' autonomy. Let me know if you'd like this expanded.
Well, a lot of people in the church are trained to see somebody like me expressing what they think is negativity towards the church. Say, well, he's an apostate. If you heard that like I heard it, I'm old, and sometimes I don't remember things real well. I thought all 10 of those things that she gave me as a cult were identical to the Mormon Church. I think the debate of whether the Mormon Church is a cult or not, to me, is over. Anybody that has a modern education knows the Mormon Church is a cult. They disguise themselves. They dress up in Jesus suits. They say things that are totally the opposite of who they are and what they represent. But everything that you just heard, AI, I didn't make that up. See, the Mormons say, see, that he's getting that. He made that up. No. I simply put into AI. The cloud. All of the information in the world, not the Mormon Church, not anti-Mormon Church. It's the truth, facts together. It is a cult. Now, that's, again, not important. People have a right to join a cult. Cults, have a right to exist under the First Amendment when they're guised as a church. What I'm saying to you is it's more than a cult. It's the great and abominable church. It is a deadly cult. You may not die today. You may not be tortured and whipped today. It might be a good day that you get to go to the banquet and to have a potluck and go out on an activity. But eventually, the truth will come around. I'm sitting here now at 77 years old. I've worked in the temple. I've dedicated my life to the Mormon Church. I have 14 children because Brigham Young said have as many as you can, and I was following the prophet. Married in the temple, supported children on missions, went to BYU. I've done everything. And now I'm sitting here looking at you. You're looking at me, and that's ugly when you're looking at me. When I look at you, and look beautiful. I think this is the first time in my life this morning that I think they may kill me. They may kill me. My name, my address, my phone numbers are now all public. And the Danites, the professional group that the Mormon Church invented during Joseph Smith's and Brigham Young's time period. The Danites are a posse of FBI, CIA type people that work for the church by people having accidents, people disappearing, people losing their jobs, people who are punished. The Danites and the Committee to Strengthen the Members, take a look at that. Committee to Strengthen the Members, you guys don't know that's there. I do. And they have their ways. I thought I would be a pretty happy camper when I joined the church, and gosh, I went to dance festivals and you know, I went on trips with a seminary and went to BYU and went skiing, and it was fun. But the egg will finally hatch. The egg will finally hatch. Now I'm sitting here old and saying to the world, they're deadly. It's not just a cult. It's a satanic group that congregate together who fight everything against the principles of Jesus Christ. Everything they say is Christian. They say all the right things, but they do all the wrong things. If you don't wear their underwear, if you have coffee or tea, or you do not obey